Okay. In today's session, we'll talk about the procurement process till we make the payment and sales process till we receive the payment from the customer. So I'll take you through these two cycles in today's session. So the same how that can be managed in our application point of view also we'll discuss. Okay. And we can wind up the session for today after this discussion. Okay. The first concept is procurement process. Okay. So the organization point of view, what would be the very standard general procurement process we are going to discuss now. Before we talk about the procurement process as per organization, if you take some individual case, how it works. Say for example, I want to buy a laptop, so that I call as requirement. Say I'm doing this Oracle R12 financial training. Just say I need laptop, I want to install this application, I want to do practice. Okay, in this case, the whatever I need, I call it as requirement. So there is requirement from my side. When I have requirement, what I do is I have to get some approval from my parents. For example, if I'm just doing this course as a student, if I'm not working somewhere, definitely I'll be calling to my parents. I'll speak to them saying that I'm doing this course, you know that. So since I'm doing this course, I need laptop also, because for my practice convenience, I need laptop. I'll speak to my parents. Then if they says okay, I'll be planning to buy the laptop. So that means I'm taking some permission. I'm taking some permission. Once I get the permission, I start finding the laptop with the required configuration. Then I have to find out what is the best configuration we require to install this Oracle application for our practice purpose. Then we'll try to find out which configuration is required by contacting respective people. Once we identify the good requirement, okay, to install this application, so we'll go on to get the quotation from respective vendors. Here generally we go and visit the shops and we'll ask for the quotation. We'll say I need say Dell computer, I need with 4 GB RAM and 500 GB hard disk. This could be my just configuration specifications. I'll be asking the shop guys. So what they'll do is based on this configuration, they'll provide the quotation. So once I get the quotation, if I'm just well expertised in understanding this configuration related price and all, I can take the quick decision, or else I may go and contact my friends or somebody who's having good knowledge on the respective areas of that hardware related price, etc. So we'll contact and we'll look into those prices and who is offering the best price. We may select that as a best quotation to buy your laptop. You may take the quotation from multiple shops and you'll be just looking into price across all the quotations, who's giving the best price with the best configuration as per your requirement, with a warranty or guarantee, whatever you call. We'll take the decision. Then finally we'll go and visit that shop. We'll pay the money and we'll take the laptop. Then we'll start using that laptop. So this is also, I call it as the procurement. I'm purchasing and I'm paying. As an individual, it's a very simple process. One person will involve in this entire process. Even after procuring, the same person is going to use that laptop, or it may be for someone else. Here the simple point we have to understand, it's a very simple in case of individual. But if you take example of company, to do the same activity, okay, to buy the laptop, multiple departments will be involved. Again, there will be certain process which need to be followed in each and every department. Okay, fine. I request you all to mute your mics. If you have any question, you can unmute and you can ask me anytime. But without having any questions in between the discussion, please don't unmute by knowing or unknowingly. Okay, that's what I can see sometimes. This is my request. Okay, please. Okay, so to do the same activity to purchase the laptop, okay, organization point of view, multiple departments will be involved. there will be standard process which will be followed, where it has to be, the entire process need to be routed across the different departments. Now let's talk about that procurement process. Okay, let's talk about procurement process. First we'll discuss about procurement process, then we'll talk about sales process. Okay, to understand our financials, the complete cycle of activities, basically we should understand these two processes. One is procurement process. The procurement process will get connected with our financials, and sales process also, it will start and it will get connected and it will be ended as a part of finance only. So if you can understand, if you have thorough understanding about this procurement process and sales process, it's very easy for us to understand. So how that activities will takes place, how those activities can be carried throughout these entire cycles of procurement and finance, including procurement and sales activities, how those will be connected with the finance, how those will be ended. That means we are going to understand where the procurement process starts, where the end activity takes place, and where sales process starts, where that final activity is going to end. This is what we are going to understand. Once we are okay with these two processes, will be good enough to start working on financial applications. Okay, now first we'll see the procurement process. Okay, when you talk about procurement process, as we discussed, multiple departments will be involved. Here I have a simple diagram to explain you that how the process works. Okay, let's take simple example. There is sales department in our company. I'm taking simple example. Say we have a sales department. Okay, what is the purpose of sales department? Basically, sales department will involve in the sales activities. Okay, primarily what they do is they'll get the orders from the customer. Of course, there will be marketing departments and other departments which will be supporting the sales department. We are not talking about that. Let's go to the direct point. The what sales department do is, sales department get orders from customers. They'll get the orders from customers. Whenever they get the order from the customers, what sales department will do is they'll check whether stock is available in the inventory department or not. Say we got an order from the customer for 100 laptops. We got an order from one customer for 100 laptops. We will get the order. Sales department will get order from the customer. When they get the order from the customer, immediately they'll be checking with the inventory department. If stock is available, then they'll take initiative of shipping process. Then they'll be promising to the customer, saying that yes, we can supply that material, and that's how they'll proceed with the shipment execution and all. They'll be delivering the whatever the product or whatever the item customer is looking for. That's how the sales process takes place. Okay, now we are not taking the example as there is stock available as customer requirement. I am going to take the simple example. Say there is some order from the customer which is received by sales department. Say sales department is going to check with inventory department, but required stock is not available. Say customer is requesting for 100 laptops, but in our inventory think there is no one laptop also, or else say we have 50 laptops, whatever it may be, enough stock is not available in the inventory. In that case, the organization has to take the initiative of procuring the required item. Let me call here a laptop as item. Okay, we have to purchase the items. That is the one requirement. Why we are going to purchase? There is a demand. From where we got the demand? From customer. Because there is some demand from the customer, that is the reason we are going to purchase some item which we have as a shortage in our organization. That is one example. I'll take another example. In our company, say 10 new employees joined. 10 new employees joined. For 10 employees, we require 10 laptops, and we don't have any laptops in the company. That is also that also you can take as a requirement. Okay, because we need 10 laptops, we have to buy. Okay, before you go and buy the stock, whether stock is available with you in your organization and all, the laptops are available with in your organization, you will go and cross check. If laptops are not available, definitely you have to go and buy. So these are the two requirements. I am taking a simple example. One requirement, there is demand from the customer. Because of customer demand, we may go and buy. And the other requirement is there is internal requirement. I can call it as, we are not, there is no demand from the customer. It's all about internal. We need within the organization. So that I'll call as internal demand. When we talk about customer, that is external demand. If you are going to buy something for in your organization, definitely the requirement could be internal requirement or external requirement. When we have internal or external requirement, then if there is any shortage for the item, then we'll take initiative of buying the material or products. Okay, let's proceed based on this point. Think there is some demand from the customer. When we have demand from the customer, we'll check with the inventory. Think there is no item available in the inventory. Now what inventory department has to do? Okay, the person who is responsible to identify the shortage, okay, and to take that process further, the person what he will do is, so the person may raise the requisition. The inventory department will create the requisition. What is the meaning of requisition? Here requisition means very simple. So whatever the requirement we have in our company, whatever the shortage we have in our company, that will be addressing as a requisition. When you look at requisition, we'll have information saying that, say we have a requirement of 50 laptops or 100 laptops we need by so and so date, and that's how the information will be mentioning. Okay, and you may specify from where we have to buy those laptops also. That information also you can mention, the quantity and everything will be mentioning as a part of requisition. Okay, so earlier we taken simple example. If I want to buy the laptop, what I have to do? I have to call to my parents and I have to take permission from them, since I'm student. I'm just studying and learning. So in the same way, however, we have a system of taking the permission from parents. In the same way, company point of view, definitely from the department, we have to take the approval for the requisition. Okay, we have to take the approval. Somebody is raising the requisition. Okay, creating requisition simply called as rising. Somebody is raising the requisition by stating there is some requirement. Okay, the requirement is right requirement or not, there should be somebody, some supervisor who can look into that and they can finalize it. So once you raise the requisition, that means inventory department will raise the requisition, that has to get approval. Once requisition is approved, what inventory department will do is, okay, the inventory department will pass that information to purchasing department. Okay, and before we get into the purchasing department activities, let me include another point. What is the purpose of inventory department? They'll maintain the stock. Okay, they'll maintain the stock. That is the primary responsibility of inventory department. Apart from that, if there is any shortage for the item, they'll be involving in the activity of raising the requisition and getting the approval for the same. So now what inventory department will do is, the approved requisition, okay, not just requisition, the requisition which is approved, the inventory department will be passing that approved requisition to purchasing department. If inventory is going to pass just requisition, purchasing department won't be ready to procure the required material. They need only approved requisition. So that's how the purchasing department will get the approved requisition from inventory department. Once they get the approved requisition from inventory department, based on approved requisition, purchasing department will raise the RFQ. Okay, they'll create RFQ. RFQ stands for request for quotation. Okay, request for quotation. That means the purchasing department is responsible to procure whatever we need in the organization. So based on approved requisition, purchasing department is going to raise a RFQ. RFQ is nothing but request for quotation. Say what is the requisition says, we need 50 laptops. Now purchasing department will contact the supplier saying that we need 50 laptops, so and so brand, say Dell. This is the configuration we require. Please give us quotations. That's how they will be calling for the quotations. They will be requesting the multiple vendors to provide the quotations. Once the purchasing department will request for quotations, what vendors will do? They'll provide the quotation. That means purchasing department will receive they'll receive quotations. Okay, they'll receive quotations from vendors. Definitely they'll be requesting quotations from multiple vendors to choose the best quotation and best vendor who can agree with best price and other terms. Okay, so they'll request for quotations based on approved requisition. Purchasing department is going to request for quotations, and they'll receive the quotation from the multiple vendors. After receiving the quotations, what purchasing department will do is they'll be doing the analysis. That means whatever the quotation they received, they'll just go through the quotations saying that who is offering the best price and who is giving the best terms. Okay, one supplier may says, okay, this is the price. I'm offering one laptop, Dell laptop with 20,000. You have to pay immediately. Another vendor may offer with same configuration. Okay, I'll be just giving the best price 22,000. You can pay after 2 months. Some other vendor can give some warranties or guarantees or some some other which we find as a benefits compared to other vendor quotations. Okay, positive points when you compare with other vendor quotations. So this all will go through that process only we call as quotation analysis, or simply you can call as quote analysis. Okay, quotation analysis. So through quotation analysis, what we are trying to find? So we are trying to find who's giving the best quotation. It can be terms or price. Okay, we'll do the quotation analysis. After doing the quotation analysis, definitely we'll be selecting the best quotation. Okay, then we'll choose the best quotation. We'll choose the best quotation. Who is doing all these activities? Purchasing department. Okay, if organization is very big, there could be separate department for quotation process also. Okay, just we are talking about very generic process. Okay, so the purchasing department will choose the best quotation. After choosing the best quotation, what they do is they'll place the order. They'll place, or say they'll create the purchase order. They'll create the purchase order, we call as PO. After creating the purchase order, since purchase order is kind of legal document, okay, so that means once you place this order to the supplier, supplier will respond to the PO by supplying the material. That is the reason this document got very importance. So once you create the purchase order, internally you have to get the approvals. Okay, so approvals for PO. We'll create the purchasing department will create the purchase order by selecting the best quotation, and we have to get the approvals before we send this PO to vendor. We'll get approvals. After getting approvals, that PO will be sending to the vendors. Then based on that, supplier will supply the material. That means we'll receive the material. The moment we receive the material into our organization, to where will be receiving the material, that everything will be mentioning the PO. The PO will be mentioning who is the supplier, what is the supplier address, what item we require, how much quantity we require, when we require, where we require. All the information will be mentioning in the PO level. So once supplier will receive that PO, accordingly will be supplying the material to requested location. So the location can be maybe depending on what you are buying. You may give your office address, or else you can give your inventory address. Okay, so generally the material will be requesting the supplier to just ship to our inventory location. So the moment we receive the material into your organization, what we'll do, we'll create the receipt. We'll create the receipt. The same receipt you can call as GRN, nothing but goods receipt note. Okay, that you can call as goods receipt note. When we record the GRN, the moment we receive the material from the supplier, okay, the items or goods, whatever you call. So once we receive into our organization, we'll record the goods receipt note. Then finally, after receiving the material, there will be situations sometimes where you may find some item got damaged, or whatever the product you received that got damaged. Okay, in that case, the purchasing department will just take the responsibility of that. Means they'll be involving primarily in purchase returns also. There will be purchase returns. We know purchase returns is not a standard process. If require, the purchasing department will involve in the purchasing returns activity also. Primarily, these are the activities, okay, takes place as a part of department, purchasing department. Simply, we can call these all are purchasing department responsibilities in the organization. Okay, what is the responsibility of inventory department? They'll maintain the stock. Okay, inventory department is responsible to maintain the stock. Okay, that means simply say items, item management. Inventory is responsible to manage the item. If there is any shortage, they'll create the requisition. They'll get the approvals. That information they'll pass to purchasing department. Based on approved requisition, the purchasing department will raise the RFQ. Okay, they'll raise the RFQ by requesting for quotation from the multiple vendors, and then they'll receive the quotation from the vendors. Once they get the quotations, they do the analysis. Analysis is nothing but just going through the quotations to find out which is the best. They'll go through the price and other terms and other information, which is a key information to take the decision. And after, based on the quotation, they'll do the analysis, which we call as quotation analysis, or we may call as quote analysis. Okay, then after analysis is done, they'll choose the best quotation out of the whatever the quotation they received from the multiple vendors, and finally they'll be placing the purchase order, maybe to one supplier or to more than one supplier also, depending on whose quotations they selected as a best. And after creating the purchase orders, before sending to the supplier, we have to get approval internally within the purchasing department. After getting the approvals, we'll send the PO to supplier. Supplier will respond to that by supplying the material. The moment we receive the material into our organization, we will create the receipt. Here, just as a process I'm mentioning as a part of purchasing department, the reality, the receipt will be recorded by inventory. Okay, but from any department can do that activity, that possibility we have, and normally in the business it happens. That is the reason I'm mentioning our application point of view and real business process point of view. You can create the moment we receive the material from the supplier, the receipt you can create within the inventory, through purchasing department also you can do that. That's the reason just I'm mentioning as a process flow here. So if there is any damage, okay, the purchase returns also can be handled by purchasing department. That's all. So this is the responsibility of purchasing department. This is the responsibility of purchasing department. So then what is the next step? That's all. Other than this, purchasing department is not going to do anything else. Okay, then simply what they'll do is they placed order, they got the material whatever required. The next step should be taken care by payables department. So once we purchase something, what is the next step? We have to make the payment to supplier. And making the payment to supplier is not responsibility of purchasing department. The payments and all should be done by payables department. Now what purchasing department is going to do is, the purchasing department will be sharing the receipt information with payables department. Okay, inventory is sharing approved requisition information with purchasing department. Now purchasing department is executed respect to activities which should be done by them. Finally, to take this process to next step, they are sharing receipt information with the payables department, saying that we purchased so and so material from so and so vendor, and this is all the information we have as a part of receipt. Based on that, you can go ahead and make the payment by following the due date. That sort of information they'll be sharing to payables department. Once payables department receive the receipt or say GRN information from purchasing department, based on that what they will do is they'll create the purchase invoice. Okay, they'll create the purchase invoice. They'll create the purchase invoice. The payables department, okay, will create the purchase invoice based on receipt which they received from purchasing department. Okay, what information the payables department will include as a part of purchase invoice? As a part of purchase invoice, payables department will include who is the supplier, what is the supplier address, and how much we have to pay, when we have to pay, how we have to pay. How means through which channel, through check or cash or electronic process, and the detailed information they'll be maintaining based on the information they are receiving from purchasing department. If payables department is creating the purchase invoice, means the background is the purchasing department is sharing the receipt information with payables department. Otherwise, the payables department cannot find out to whom to pay, when to pay, how much they have to pay. So that's the reason they'll get the input from purchasing department. Based on that, they'll create the purchase invoice. Okay, they have a purchase invoice. Within the purchase invoice, definitely whatever the our organization supplier mutual agreed with the payment terms, that means due dates. Okay, so based on that, that information also they'll be including within the purchase invoice. When we look at this purchase invoice, we can understand when we have to make the payment. So once we arrive the due date, okay, what payables department will do is the payables department will process the payment. Payables department will process the payment. That's all. So this is the responsibility of payables department. What payables department is doing? The payables department is receiving the receipt information from purchasing department. Based on the receipt information, they are creating purchasing invoice, or say purchase invoice in payables. This you can call as purchase invoice, or you can call as supplier invoice also. Okay, supplier invoice, which generally sub invoice will be getting from supplier. Okay, so on that base you can call as purchase invoice or supplier invoice. We'll get the purchase payables will create the purchase invoice based on the receipt information. Of course, other side will get the invoice from supplier also, but we should not depend on that information. We should always depend and rely the information which we have in our system, which is true and accurate. So you may purchase for 10,000, but you may get invoice from supplier for 15,000, but you are not going to enter the same invoice into system blindly without cross checking with your records. Here you are creating invoice based on your receipt. In the sense, that's what you are cross checking with your records. You are making sure that you are not creating invoice with wrong information. You are not going to make the payment, more payment which you have to actually pay. Okay, so that's how, like, based on receipt we'll create invoice, and once we arrive the due date, we'll make the payment to supplier. That's the responsible payables department. Payables department is responsible to create the purchase invoice, and they're responsible to make the payments. Okay, done. Now the other point here is, okay, the other point here is, okay, just give me 1 second. I think just I given this which is not required here. Fine, I'm sorry for that. Okay, so fine, they purchased, they procured something and they create a purchase invoice. Then they'll be just making the payment. Here, just give me 1 second. This is basically cash department. Okay, fine. So payables department is creating the purchase invoice and they're making the payment. Now the other point is, now we are talking about laptops. Say a company is going to purchase land or building some plant. In that case also, of course, we are not going to store that building or land in the inventory, but purchasing department will take the responsibility of working on all these activities. Okay, if they are going to purchase one plant, okay, in your company to produce the product or whatever the reason, the purpose, the purchasing department will do all these activities. They'll request for quotations, they'll receive the quotation from the vendors, they do the analysis, finally they'll be placing the purchase order. All these activities they do. Once purchasing department complete the activity of procuring the one plant is going to be asset for the company. So based on that information, payables department will create the purchase invoice based on procurement which we did for asset. Okay, asset procurement, asset purchase. Against the asset purchase, payables department will create the purchase invoice. Anyway, by following the due date, we have to make the payment. Now when you talk about purchase invoice, the purchase invoice can related to different information. We may have purchase invoice for the services which we render in our organization. When you take the services from vendor, we have to make the payment. For that reason, you may have purchase invoice, or else you may have purchase invoice which is related to inventory item, stock related purchases. Okay, that is another reason. And other purpose could be the purchase invoice you may have because you purchase some assets for our company. The reason can be anything like, so whatever we are purchasing, irrespective of whether you are taking the services, you are buying some inventory related item, okay, or else you are spending some expense. This is also another reason why we can have purchase invoice, because you may spend expense, you may buy inventory may item, inventory related stock, or you may take some services, or you may purchase some asset, whatever it may be the reason. Finally you have to make the payment. For that reason, definitely you have to maintain the purchase invoice. Without purchase invoice, you cannot make the payment. Now let's take simple case. Say we purchased one plant. When you purchase the plant, definitely payables department has to record the purchase invoice against the plant purchase. Now this purchase invoice is related to asset purchase. If there is any purchase invoice in accounts payables department which is related to asset purchase, the payables department will be sending that information to asset department. Okay, hope you are clear on this. Okay, if there is any purchase invoice, you can have purchase invoice for the purpose of expense related purchase invoice, or goods related purchase invoice, or else service related purchase invoice, or asset related purchase invoice. If it is expense or service or inventory related, you no need to do any further action on the purchase invoice. If purchase invoice is related to asset related purchase invoice, then payables department will be sharing, okay, the payables department will be sharing that information with, okay, I'll just write it as asset related. Okay, the sharing representation I given, that sharing asset related. Okay, asset related purchase invoice information payables department will be sharing with asset department. Once asset department will receive asset related purchase invoice information from payables department, based on that they'll create the asset. Okay, based on that they'll create the asset creation. Say payables department reported to asset department saying that we purchased one plant with 5 crores. Then definitely asset department means here fixed assets department. The fixed assets department, they have to take that entry into their book saying that from now they are going to have one plant in their organization which will cost 5 crores. So we'll be passing that information payables department. Okay, so we'll create the asset department will create the asset in asset department based on payables department information. So once we have assets, definitely we'll be calculating the depreciation on that. And there will be many other activities also which will deal with the assets. When we are working on the fixed assets, we'll understand more detail level. For now, these are the points to understand how the process flow works. Okay, done. Okay, this is how just payables will record the purchase invoice. If purchase invoice related to asset related purchase, the payables department will be sharing that information with asset department. Based on that information, asset department will create asset, say fixed asset, and based on usage will be calculating the depreciation. Done. Now the payables department, what they are doing, primarily 2 activities: purchase invoice and payment. Now other activities, the payables department will be sharing this payment information with cash department also. They'll be sharing the payment information. What are the payments they processed? The payment information they'll be sharing with the cash department. Why they'll be sharing the cash department? Because cash department is required information. What are the payments we processed? Based on that, they'll do the bank statement reconciliation purpose. Once payables department share this payment information with cash department, based on that information, the cash department can perform the bank statement reconciliation. They can do the bank statement reconciliation. Okay. This is what they do. Because to perform the bank statement reconciliation in cash department, payables department will be sharing payment information with the cash department. Once everything is done, all the information will be sharing with common department. For now, just try to understand there will be common department, but you'll get detailed understanding once we just go through these few more points. Okay, think there is one common department who will be collecting all this department related information in one place, so that any sort of reports you can prepare based on that information. If you are not going to maintain all the information in one place, whatever the report you want to create, you have to go on to contact the respective department. Then only you can get required information to prepare any report. But all the records, copies, if you are going to maintain in one place, so anyone can generate any report based on the activities which are taken place in this all the departments. So finally what we do, so from cash department we'll send the data, means once we do the bank statement reconciliation, the reconciled payment information cash department will be sharing with this common department. From inventory department will be sending the material related, okay, item or call it as material related information to cash department. From purchasing department also will be sharing all the POs and other receipts related information to common department. Payables also will be sharing all the purchase invoice and payment information to common department. And asset department will be sharing all the assets and the depreciation and whatever the retirements they do, other activities whatever they do on the assets, all the information they'll be sharing with common department. That means all these departments data we are moving to common department. Why we are moving to the common department? Because to prepare the financial reports. In the common department you can prepare the financial reports. If you want to prepare the financial reports, you need complete information which is related to finance, and not only just finance reports, some other reports also which you want to prepare, which is especially inventory or purchasing. Okay, those reports also there should be option to generate, to find the information to find from one place. That is the reason from all the departments are going to share the information with the common department. So that is how the actual procurement process, this you can call as very traditional procurement process, so which takes place, which normally we see in the companies. Here and there could be small changes, those are company to company, but this would be very traditional procurement process. So the procurement is, we are initiating based on the demand. The demand could be internal or external demand. The inventory will take the responsibility of raising the requisition and getting the approval. Before that, other point we have to understand, inventory is responsible for stock maintenance, say item, okay, item maintenance. And once they are approved, they'll pass to purchasing. These are the activities are done by purchasing department. Then finally purchasing department is going to pass receipt information to the payables department. Based on that, payables is going to create purchase invoice. If the purchase invoice is related to asset related purchase, payables is going to share that information with the asset department. Based on that information, asset department will create the asset and they'll be calculating depreciation based on the usage. If this purchase invoice is not related to asset, payables department is not going to share this information to asset department, only in case of invoices related to asset. That's it. And other side, against this invoice, once we arrive the due date, we'll make the payment to supplier. After making the payment, this payment information payables department is going to share with cash department. Cash department, okay, cash department. So that only just I mentioned here. Why payables department is sharing the cash payment information to the cash department? Cash department is responsible to perform the bank statement reconciliation. If payable department is not going to share payment information, there won't be any information for cash department to perform the bank statement reconciliation. Finally, all the information, okay, from all the departments will be sharing the information. From all the departments will be sharing the information to common department, so that the complete data, all this records related primary key records data will be available in the common department, so that across all these activities, whatever the report you want to generate, you can generate in common department. Anyone any question on this a process what just now we discussed? You can just raise your points so that we can discuss.
I have one doubt. I have one doubt. See, here we are using asset department. May I know why we are using asset department? I'm not getting exactly. I got about cash department and common. Everything is okay, but I'm not getting about asset department.
See, why we have purchasing department? To manage purchasing activity. Why we have inventory department? To maintain the stock. Why we have payables department? To process the payments. Why we have cash management? Cash department to maintain the cash. In the same way, we have asset department to maintain the fixed assets. Every company will be having assets, maybe owned or leased. Company will be having the buildings and furniture, vehicles, right? And there will be many properties, computers, many properties will be there. Those also need to be maintained separately. There will be separate team who will be taking care of all those properties. If company normally, if a company is very small, there may not be separate department called as asset department. But generally the companies who are big, running globally or within the country or globally, who has a vast operations. Okay, big size of uh, processes, I mean to say, if they have a good operations, definitely they'll be having the separate department. If you see small company, there may not be multiple departments also. You may find one department which you call as just finance department. When you say finance department, it's everything: cash department, payables department, asset department, all will be part of finance department. Okay, so this is how, like, a company, the big companies, okay, they can manage their assets by separate department called as asset department. The asset department will take the responsibility of maintaining all the assets. Only fixed assets. I'm not talking about current assets. When I talk about current assets, one of the example is cash. Cash will be handled by cash department. Another example is stock. Stock also comes under current asset. That will be handled by inventory department. We are talking about fixed assets: land, buildings, machinery, computers, furniture, vehicles, many other properties comes under fixed assets. All will be handled by asset department. Is it clear? I'm not sure who asked this question.
Yeah, clear.
Yeah, fine. Thank you. Any other questions? Okay. I don't see any questions. I want to proceed on the same. Fine. Now,
Yeah, I have one question.
please.
You said there is a department, cash department, department is going to maintain the purchase invoices and payment, right?
Correct.
So here, mode of payment, who is going to decide the mode of payment? Because nowadays, any company, whatever transactions they make, it is going to be through, check, or it should be recordable. So big companies, they are not going to handle the cash, right? So mode of payment is decided by purchasing department or a payable department.
So see that when we have, if you don't mind, you can unmute. You can mute. So I'll be
Yeah,
expect. I
yeah.
can hear some noise. Fine. Thank you. See, when you talk about who will decide the payment method, when we talk about, normally the purchasing department primarily will involve with the activities called as getting quotations and placing the purchase order. Majorly purchasing department generally won't involve in the mode of the payment. The payables department only will have a communication with the vendor. So who are paying, say I'm going to pay to someone. When I'm going to pay to someone, definitely I'll be checking how I have to make the payment. Okay, they will have their own preference, saying that I accept only cash payment. Others may says bank account transfer. See, it's not like one party will decide. It's a mutual acceptance is required. See, as a payables department will say, I'll make the payment through check. My vendor may not accept. My vendor says, I accept only electronic payments, or else I accept only wire payments. I accept some other system process related payments. Okay, so this is how it would be. It's not like one party, one side, one party will decide. If I'm going to buy something from some supplier, it's not like supplier decides something and I'm buying. Supplier is just giving quotation. I'll just get the quotations, we'll have a negotiation with the supplier, then finally it will decide it. That means two parties are accepting to go ahead with the further process. In the same way, the payment method decision also will take in place. Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks. And again, it's some cases it can be different. If you are dealing with big suppliers, very big suppliers, definitely they may decide, because you are very small customer. Or else if you are very big customer and your supplier is very small, you may decide. Okay, so there are many cases. We cannot stand on one point for this kind of things. Okay, that vary from situation to situation and depending on who is the supplier, who is the customer. But generally, as per business point of view, mutually agreed. Okay, done. Any other questions on this? Okay, I don't see any questions. Now we'll talk about more on this by correlating with our application. So what inventory department is doing? Inventory department is maintaining the stock, item management, and they are creating requisition and they are getting approvals for the requisition. To manage all these activities, to maintain the stock, to create the requisitions, and to get the approvals from Oracle, we have one product. Okay, from Oracle, we have one product called as Oracle Inventory. We have one product from Oracle called as Oracle Inventory. That in short we call as INV. So I request you all who are very serious about this learning and who want to get job based on these classes they're learning, I request you all to make a note. Definitely you should take a note when you are attending the classroom training, how you take each and every point as note. Just take the note and all that will be ready with you to go through anytime if you are depending on all these videos. Anyway, we are going to provide all these videos to everyone, but think it won't be ready with you all the time to play and to have a quick reference. You may, after these classes, you may play one time. That's what I can understand. But I'm sure you are not going to play multiple times. Whenever you need some reference, the always best reference would be your note only. Anyway, you'll be getting these videos. Forget about these videos, you'll be getting for sure, but always depend on your note. Then really that would, when you are practicing, immediately you can go and refer your note, and when you are going through this kind of theoretical points, quickly you can go through that reference whatever you are going to prepare through your note. Okay, request you all to mute. Sometimes I'm getting some noise from somebody. Please.
Uh, Lakshman, sorry to disturb you. Your
Please.
voice is not clear sometimes. It is like blurring to us.
Because I have a good quality of here, a good bandwidth and everything I'm managing. If you don't mind, you can disconnect and you can connect once again. I'm not telling you it's something wrong from your side. Please, if that is the situation, you can
Sure,
try
sure.
from your side. You disconnect and you will
Sure,
just reconnect, please.
sure, sure.
Hi Lakshman, this is
Yeah,
Pankaj here.
yeah,
I'm
Pankaj.
also getting the same problem. Sometime, your voice will accelerate like anything, and then sometime it will be very slow.
Okay.
Even though I'm also had a very good bandwidth, so just to highlight. Thank you.
Okay. I can understand. I can understand. But what about others? I can see here 10 plus guys. Let me get some input from them, because see, maybe there may be chance 2 3 people are facing this issue because of the network issue from their end, or else there could be good chance from my end also. So if from my end, definitely everyone should have the same experience. I'm checking with others. We have 10 plus guys on the line, so I'm checking with others if any other guys
Ye-
also having same
Yes,
experience.
yes, we do have same problem, but then in between your voice was lagging. We do
Okay.
had a
Yeah,
same problem.
Okay, good.
yeah,
Then,
yes,
Yeah,
I'm also getting that problem.
this
okay.
is Sarita here.
Yeah.
Even I am facing the same thing.
Okay. Thanks for reporting. Thank you. Then I have to check for something. Let me just give me one sec. Just I'll be switching to other network. One second. Be online. You can mute. You can mute, please. Do you find any difference now? Okay. Let me just go ahead. Then, if you have any challenges, please let me know. Fine. Okay. Hope everyone can hear me now. Done. So to maintain the stock and to create the requisitions and to take care of approval process, we have an application from Oracle called as Oracle Inventory. And what purchasing department is doing? Purchasing department is involving all these activities. To perform all these activities from Oracle, we have an application called as Oracle Purchasing. We have an application called as Oracle Purchasing. For the short name is PO. Okay. The same way, the payables department is responsible for creating the purchase invoice and making the payments. To record the purchase invoices and to process the payments, we have an application from Oracle called as Oracle Accounts Payable. Oracle Accounts Payable, so we call as AP. short name. And then what accounts payable, or say AP, from now you can simply call as AP. What AP department is doing? The AP department is sharing payments information with cash department. Then cash department will use that information for bank statement reconciliation. So to perform the bank statement reconciliation, we have an application from Oracle called as Oracle Cash Management. We call it as CM. Okay, Oracle Cash Management. That means AP is going to share payment information to cash management, CM. The CM will use that information for bank statement reconciliation. Finally, all the information we are going to share with common department. Share with common department. The common department, for this purpose, to maintain all the departments related data as a pool, we have one application from Oracle called as Oracle General Ledger. We call it as simply GL. That means in GL, we'll get all the data from the different applications to GL, and in GL level, we can prepare the financial reports. Okay, this is what we have to understand. That means for each department, we have a separate application from Oracle. For inventory, we have Oracle Inventory. For purchasing department, we have Oracle Purchasing. In short, we call as PO. The reason why we are calling as PO here, when you look into this process, out of the entire purchasing activities, the primary very key activity is creating the purchase order. Because of that reason, the short name they given as PO. Okay, that is the scope we have to give the short name for PO. That's the reason they're given as PO. When you say application point of view, what do you mean by PO? You should say Oracle Purchasing. As per process, what is the meaning of PO means you should remember to say purchase order. Then to perform the bank statement reconciliation, we know along with this bank statement reconciliation, the cash management is responsible to maintain the bank accounts also. So bank account also, bank accounts. Okay, the cash department is cash management, CM. Now from now we can go with the short names only. The CM is responsible to maintain the bank accounts, and they're responsible to perform the bank statement reconciliation. Finally, AP is going to share asset invoice information with the asset department. To maintain what asset department is doing, asset department is responsible to create the fixed assets, and they'll be calculating the depreciation on that based on the usage or other the policies, or how the depreciation as per company acts or IT acts, we have to calculate depreciation accordingly. They'll be calculating to create assets, and to calculate the depreciations, we have one product from Oracle that we call as Oracle Fixed Assets. Short name is FA. Okay, so we have a Oracle Fixed Assets. So in Oracle Fixed Assets, you can create assets and you can calculate depreciation. Finally, from inventory, PO, CM, AP, FA, from all these applications, we can send the data to GL to prepare the financial reports. These all we are calling as applications. Okay, applications. The applications only you can call as modules also, remember. Modules. Okay, applications you can call as modules. If you say GL is one application, then you can, in other words, you can say GL is one of the module. Okay, module is a technical term. Okay, you can say these all are the different modules in Oracle applications, or you can say these are all are different applications. Okay, so this is what we have to understand. This process, okay, this process normally we call as P2P cycle. P2P cycle. We call it as P2P cycle. We call it as P2P cycle. What is the meaning of P2P cycle? P2P stands for procure to pay. Procure to pay cycle. Okay, this P refers procure, this 2 refers TO2, this P refers pay. This is cycle. procure to pay cycle. What is the meaning of procure to pay cycle? That means in this process is getting started whenever you have a requirement to procure something, and this process is going to end with the payment. Primarily, these are the three departments will be involved in the P2P cycle. Okay, primarily these three departments will involve in the P2P cycle. Here, very important point is, if you are going to try for job on based on this learning, definitely you should be very strong, or you should be very confident on P2P cycle to explain them. Okay, if when you're attending interview, definitely they'll be asking, okay, could you please explain the P2P cycle? Then you have to start telling, okay, when you talk about P2P cycle, basically when we have a requirement in the organization, that can be internal or external requirement, will rise the requisition. Inventory will rise the requisition, they'll get the approval. After that, they'll be passing that information to purchasing department. Based on approved requisition, PO will create the RFQ, they'll get the quotations, they'll analyze the quotations, and they'll choose the best quotation. They'll be placing the purchase order with approvals. Once organization receive the material, they'll be recording the receipt, and if required, they'll do the purchase returns. Then PO is going to share GRN information with the payables department. Based on GRN information, payables department creates purchase invoice. If the purchase invoice related to asset related purchase, the payables department will share that information with the asset department, and based on the due date, they'll make the payment. That's it. And the payment information will be shared with cash management for bank statement reconciliation. Finally, all the information will be transferred to GL. If you are going to explain in this way, then they'll understand you have some experience or knowledge, whatever you are expecting and explaining to them. If you know this process, but you are lacking with your experience, okay, if you know this process, it's not easy to explain. You have to get some practice on that, where you have to go through, read and remember, and you have to talk about it, then only that flow will come. So otherwise, even if you are going through that, you are understanding, if you are not going to explain with more confidence and good flow of explanation, so nobody is going to rate you are good at this process flow. Okay, so generally when you go for interview and all, definitely you should be very confident to explain this process as it is. There are no changes required. Okay, so procure to pay. When you say procure to pay, basically the procurement process starts with inventory. The requirement will rise here, and the payment, and it will start with the procurement, it will end with the payment. That is the reason they named it as procure to pay. From procurement means from requisition. With the requisition, whenever there is a need of procuring, requisition will be raised, and it will end with the payment. Actually, the payment activity will do in the payables. The rest of connectivity, just whatever the data we have in the payables that we are sharing internally with the cash department, and asset related information we are sharing with fixed assets, all the data we are sharing with general ledger application. These three are additional modules where we will share this P2P cycle related information. When you talk about what are the core modules within the P2P cycle, always you should address inventory, purchasing and payables, or simply say inventory, PO and AP. And other applications we have just to share the information for our internal records, maintenance and reconciliation and other aspects. Okay, these are the core activities which we perform in the P2P. And if you notice here, the representation I given as this marking and all. Here if you see the Oracle accounts payables, simply I call it as AP. When you make the payment here, the same payment information will be shared with cash management, and from cash management also the updates will be received by accounts payables. That is the reason the marking I specified like this. Data flow from AP to CM and CM to AP. And again here also I given the same. The data will flow to from AP to GL and GL to AP and GL to other application also. Whatever the data we are getting into GL from all other applications, from those are here. That is the reason I mentioned. From cash management, data will come to GL. From GL, you can go and refer the data which is available in the cash management. In the same way, whatever the data we are getting from here to there, you can just find from here. Okay, that means the two-way connectivity will be there for specific modules. Once we get into the application, I'll take you through that, why and how, what is the reason Oracle given, and by using that function or future, what you can get to know, okay, being a GL person. Okay, so I'll take you through that. Hope it's very clear to everyone. Still, if any questions, let me know. From now you should remember these application names. Inventory, you call as inventory only, don't call as INV. Inventory, PO, AP, FA, CM and GL. Okay, this is a complete information, and to understand it's complete in the sense the flow related. Okay, flow related complete information to understand. Once you get into the application, I'll take you through the different other aspects which you have to understand. Okay, any questions on this, please? If no questions, we'll jump into sales process. Any questions on this? Another point I want to check with you, how is the voice clarity?
Hey, I'm actually missing.
Sorry?
Hello. Yeah, your voice is good.
Okay, thank you.
Your voice is good.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, I have a question.
Yeah. Please go ahead.
Should I ask the question?
Yes.
Yeah, here you have mentioned Oracle fixed assets, right?
Correct.
There was a little confusion. Here we have a cash management department, payable department, and fixed asset department, right?
Correct.
So what are the things we are going to pass it to the fixed assets? Are the like documents or anything, or a more cash payment and everything is done by the fixed asset department?
Okay, fine. Yeah, I'll explain you. If you don't mind, you can mute.
Yeah.
I think I explained that point already. The simple point is when I talk about fixed assets, I believe that everybody know the difference between current assets and fixed assets. Okay, the current assets, when you say current assets, cash and stock, all will be managed in the different modules. Already we discussed in cash.
Sorry, I'm disturbing you. My question is not that, what is going to be, I'm aware of the assets, but thing is what the department is going to do. Are they going to hold the document? Are they going to hold the things?
One second, I got it. Can you see here what I mentioned? The asset department is going to maintain the assets. Okay, they are going to maintain the assets. Okay, when you say assets, they'll maintain physically and virtually. Physically, they'll take care of the assets and the same information, the system, virtually they'll be maintaining. Two parts they'll take care of.
So they are not going to handle any cash or any payment or anything, right?
No. That's a fixed
okay,
assets.
got it now.
Yep.
Yeah, got it now. Understood. Thank you.
Fine. To handle the cash, we have a cash management. That's it. The bank accounts. Okay, here. This is only no cash. This cash asset department, FA, is not going to deal with any cash. Only fixed assets, lands, buildings. How many buildings we have? What is the current value? How much depreciation we calculated? When we have to retire? Okay, if there is any new asset purchase in the organization, that record also they'll be maintaining. That's how they'll take care of the assets. That's it. Okay. Any other questions? Any other questions? Because you have to be very clear on these concepts, because once you are through with these points, it's very easy for you to understand. Without discussing these, if directly we are going to jump into accounts payables, if I'm going to say, let's see how to create the purchase invoice, that won't become a great activity, great thing which you are going to learn. You have to understand why we are creating the purchase invoice, then what is the background, where the process is getting initiated, how that purchase invoice information can be shared, where and where, what is the reason. These are all points we have to understand. That is the reason we are going through this cycle. Okay. Finally, this process we call as P2P cycle. Okay. This process we call as P2P cycle. P2P stands for procure to pay cycle. These are the different modules will be involved in the modules, or you can call as applications. And primary applications are inventory, PO, and accounts payables. Okay. No questions from anyone. I am assuming no doubts. Okay. So then, if no questions, I'll jump into next concept. Please, any questions? Any type of question you can ask me. No issues, because it's all about we are here to understand and to get more clarity.
I have one quick question.
Please.
Just about the accounting. When the accounting actually will start, when you do the requisition, and then how it goes. So I believe that is an advanced question, or
Yeah.
that was my
Yes. You can ask me, but the point is, I think this is not the right time to discuss on that. We are trying to understand the process. Once we get into the system, we can understand. To give you the simple, just quick answer for your question, everywhere, like whenever there are situations, Okay, if I'm going to explain that, you cannot understand. If I say there is encumbrance concept, in case of encumbrance, accounting will start from requisition. If there is no encumbrance, accounting will start from the receipt and all. If I say, that will be big confusion for you. That's the reason I'm not going to touch that point. But wherever accounting comes into picture, everything I'm going to cover in the our classes. I'll first of all, I want to take you through that. What is the process? Then how this process can be handled in the system, I'll take you through. Once we do this activity, or while we are doing this, where accounting will trigger, what is the accounting entry, from where the accounting entry system will take. That's very pretty easy process to understand how system will handle. And we don't need to worry about too much of accounting aspects to understand and learn. It will be simple learning for us, because everything system is going to handle. You are not going to write this is a debit, this is a credit. You don't need to write everything. This in the system they programmed. You have to input that what are the accounts required in the throughout system process. Then system will be taking, and it will be generating the accounting entries which really required for reporting and other aspects. What is the primary purpose of the system? The accounting only. So that everything system will take care of. Okay, definitely we should consider those points, but this stage we are not in the system. So that's the reason, just let's wait till that time. We can definitely go through and we can get more clarity and detailed information on that. Okay, so fine. Any other questions?
Yeah, I have one question.
Please.
Here we are saying, you are saying that finally we are generating financial report, right?
Correct.
See, why we are generating this financial report? What is the use with that financial report?
Oh, come on. See, I want to create some income statement. Okay. What is the purpose of income statement? Here I'll be capturing all my revenues, expense. Finally, I can know the net income. I want to know the net income. How to find it? How to take all the information? What are the how much revenue we generated? What are the expense we incurred? Then only I can know that. Okay. Fine. Fine. That complete the
Okay,
yeah, fine. So that is the purpose, just to know like what is your earnings. Okay, the profitability and all you can find out by generating any report. Okay, fine. So just simple, like we all are using bank accounts. Okay, we all are using the bank accounts. If you have a bank statement, if you generate the bank statement, what is the use of bank statement? That gives the information. Okay, what are the inflows and outflows and what is the current balance? In the same way, similar to that. So just it's not exactly similar to that sort of information you can get through financial reports related to company. Okay, fine, done. Any other questions? Fine, no question I can see. Then we'll just jump into sales process. Okay, sales. Fine. So now here we have a inventory department. Okay, when I talk about sales, process, so who will be responsible for sales? Sales department. Sales department is responsible for sales activity. So basically customer will place the order. The order will be received by sales department. Whenever customer place the order for our organization, say let's treat now we are sales side. Okay, we are acting as supplier now. We are doing sales means we are suppliers. So when we treat ourselves we are suppliers, when we are part of sales department, so we'll get the orders from our customers. Since we are here for the purpose of sales, we call it as whatever the order we get from the customer, we call it as sales order. But our customer is placing the order to us for the purpose of purchasing. That is the reason whatever the order customer is placing, that we call as purchase order. That means whenever customer place order to us, for the customer that is a purchase order, for us that is a sales order. Say customer placed an order to us, okay, saying that the customer need 100 laptops. In that case, what we do, the sales department is responsible to record the sales order. Okay, whenever there is order from the customer, the sales department will take that order. Whether they are going to deliver the material or not, secondary thing. First they'll respect and they'll take the order whatever the customer is placing. Say the first, whenever we get order from the customer, the same will take and will record the sales order. Sales order in short you can call as SO. Okay, fine. We received order from the customer that we recorded in the sales department as a sales order. Done. Now what is the next step? Now we have to check with inventory. Okay, now we have to check with the inventory. The sales department will check with the inventory saying that we got an order from so and so customer. Of course they may not say the complete information. They'll just go and check with inventory saying that what are the order they got respective against that order, what are the stock they require, what are the items material they require, that stock is available in the inventory or not. They'll go and check with inventory. Okay, say the sales department got order, they received as they recorded as a sales order, then they'll check with inventory. Okay, sales department will go and check with inventory department if stock is available. If stock is available within the inventory, what we do is, being a sales department, we will promise to our customer saying that we are going to supply as per our requirement. You placed order to us saying that 100 laptops you require. Yes, we are going to supply. Reason? We cross-checked, we verified with inventory department stock is available. Sometimes stock may not be available, but still we may go ahead and do promise to the customer saying that we are going to supply. The reason? You might have requested inventory department to get the material ready by so and so time. Say customer is requesting 100 laptops within 10 days. Now sales department is contacting the inventory department for stock availability. Within the inventory we don't have any stock. Now inventory, what inventory can do is, they'll check with the purchasing department. They'll look for the possibilities. Is there any chance we can buy and get ready with the 100 laptops within week time? Because customer need within 10 days, that means we should have some buffer period also. So is there any chance we can get before that time? They'll check with that. If that is possible, the inventory will say to sales department, okay, you can go ahead and you can commit with the customer as we are going to supply. So that means 2 points we have to understand. If stock is available within the inventory, sales department will promise to the customer. In some cases, the stock may not be available. Okay, they'll promise to the customer as they are going to supply the material because they have a plan of procuring and supply, and they have enough time to do that. So in that scenarios, that means the first point is, sales department receive order from the customer that they'll record as a sales order, and whenever they are going to supply that material, they'll confirm the sales order. That means they'll promise to the customer as they are going to supply. What are the promise they are doing to the customer? That means their sales order they are confirming. The moment they confirm the sales order with the customer, that they'll be tracking in the system as a booking the sales order. They'll book the sales order. When you say just sales order, just that there is some order from the customer. But if you see, there is one sales order. The sales order is mentioned as a sales order is booked. That means that is the order. Against that order, we promise to the customer as we are going to supply. Okay, done. We received order, we recorded, we cross-checked within inventory. Yes, stock is available, so we book the sales order. That means we are booking the sales order. So after booking the sales order, okay, we confirm to the customer as we are going to supply. Now what we have to do? Since we booked the sales order, we have to deliver the material to customer. If you are going to deliver the material to the customer, who should take this initiative? Where we have stock we have in inventory. Stock we have in inventory. Now sales department will communicate with the inventory department saying that yes, I confirmed the sales order with the customer. Now you please go ahead and you can ship the material to the customer. Now inventory, what they will do is, okay, they'll just take the initiative of shipping the material to a customer. When you talk about inventory, here we have to understand what would be the very generic, the basic structure, how the inventory can be managed, we have to understand. For that I have a small slide here. Okay, so here just let's look into this. So when you talk about inventory organization, think this entire, okay, the entire area I'll just treat as inventory organization or warehouse management. So warehouse, okay, within this, these are some partitions. Normally if you look into any warehouse, there will be some partitions which we call as sub inventory. The same I mentioned, inventory 1, sub inventory 1, sub inventory 2, sub inventory 3 and 4. That depends, like there can be n number of sub inventories, and there could be cases where you may not have any sub inventory in some warehouses. That's a different, but I am taking very generic case. Okay, think this is the total space is inventory space. They have one godam or one inventory, one warehouse. Within that there are some partitions. There are some partitions. Again, within that, there are small partitions also we have here, sub inventory 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, this is how just we have. And why we have these sub inventories? Because the organization may have multiple items. The each different item they have to maintain separately. Say think organization has a different 4 type of items. In that case, they can have 4 partitions. Accordingly, they can have sub inventory 1 and 2, 3, 4. Okay, maybe this sub inventory 1 just to store only laptops. This is for desktops. This is for mobiles. This is for printers. In this case, 4 sub inventories they have, so that they can segregate and they can maintain the stock in the organization. Okay, done. And what is the concept of staging area? If you take our house as an example, okay, you have a complete partition. Okay, some hall, bedroom, kitchen, and all you have partition. But we have a other partition called as hall. If you want to enter into kitchen or bedroom or any room, definitely you have to pass through hall only generally. Okay, in the same way, inventory also there will be one common area. That means that is a common place in our house. Through that, if you are entering into any room, through that hall only you will be passing. And if you are going out from home, from the room you will come to hall, from the hall only you will be passing out. Okay, this is how just that is a common place in our home. In the same way, in the inventory also, this kind of system they'll follow. They'll have some staging area. Staging area is nothing but common area within the inventory. Take simple example. I am purchasing something. Okay, this is our warehouse. We are purchasing something. I am purchasing the computers. I am purchasing computers. Computers, I have a sub inventory too, or else I can write the name as computers inventory. Computers sub inventory. When I buy something, what I'll do is, say I'm buying bulk volume of computers. The vehicle will come and unload the material computers in the staging area. Within the inventory, some staging area. From here, I'll be moving the items into sub inventory. Or else we purchased laptops, desktops, printers, and mobiles. All we supplied. The vehicle came and it delivered in the staging area. From here, we'll be placing in the respective places. Here, 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 here. What are the items we have accordingly will be placing in the right sub inventory. That's one example. Other example you take, you are selling. You got an order from the customer. Customer requested for laptops, desktops, and mobiles. In this case, what you have to do? You have laptops here. You have to move the laptops from here to the staging area, and you have to move the desktops from this sub inventory to staging area. You have to move the mobiles from this sub inventory to the staging area. Once you collect this laptops, desktops, and mobiles into staging area, here you may do the packing. The truck may enter into the staging area. You will be loading that truck, then that will be sent to as a delivery. That means the item inflow or outflow happens through staging, but when you are storing, we'll be storing in the respective place. Now, if you take this example here, what happened? We recorded sales order and we booked, we given the confirmation. Now, inventory is responsible to ship the material. When they are going to ship, what they do is, first they have to pick the material from the respective sub inventory and they have to place in the staging area. They have to pick from here and they have to place in the staging area. When they are going to place in the staging area, this activity, what activity? If you want to ship the material to the customer, first you have to move from sub inventory to staging, from staging to customer. Staging to customer. Here 2 steps process. First we will be moving from sub inventory to staging. Second step is from sub inventory to customer location. These 2 steps. So who requested inventory to do this activity? Sales department, because sales department promised to the customer. If inventory is not going to ship, the customer is going to contact the sales department only, not inventory. So that is the reason whenever the sales department will inform to inventory department, what inventory will do is they'll move the material. They'll move the material from required material from sub inventory to staging area. It's nothing but they are going to pick. They are going to pick the items from sub inventory to, and they are going to move to staging area. Whenever inventory perform this activity of moving the material from sub inventory to staging, the same information they'll communicate to the sales department saying that against your order already we picked and we kept ready the material in the staging. Only the pending activity is truck should come to load and deliver. So the activity, okay, moving material from sub-inventory to staging, we call as pick release. Who will do that? Inventory will do. Inventory will inform to sales department. For sales department, they'll maintain that track record or say status of the order. Pick release. The pick release means nothing but moving material from sub-inventory to staging, we call as pick release. Who will do this activity? Inventory. Who will track it? Sales department. Reason, sales department is responsible to, okay, so sales department is responsible to customer to give the update against their order. Okay, done. So the item movement, okay, once you move from sub-inventory to staging, that you are calling as pick release. Then next step is, so okay, inventory or shipping department, whatever. So they'll move the material from staging to, or else instead of calling staging, our inventory organization. Okay, so we'll move the material from staging, say from our inventory to customer organization. Okay, who will do that? If organization, small organization, inventory may take the responsibility. Big organization, there will be separate department called as shipping department also, they will do it. Whatever it may be, doesn't matter whether inventory is doing, shipping department is doing, and what is the status of order only our sales department has to track. So the movement of items, okay, so first we'll move from sub-inventory to staging, that will be tracked by sales department as a pick release. Whenever we move the material from staging area to customer location, that information will be tracked by sales department as ship confirmed. Okay, okay, we'll just this department will track that. They'll make a note as shipping is done, that means ship confirmation. Okay, ship confirmed or ship confirmation, anything you can write. Okay, they'll be tracking as a ship confirmed. They record as a ship confirmed, that means shipping is done. We got an order and we promised nothing but booked sales order, and inventory performed activity of pick release, that means they moved item from sub-inventory to staging, and finally our organizations deliver the material to customer. That's how they'll be tracking. And when you deliver the material to the customer, definitely there may be chance where customer can return the material back to us. That also should be handled by sales department. Okay, whenever customer deliver the material back to us, okay, that will treat as sales returns. So the sales returns also will be handled by sales department only. Sales returns. Okay, sales department. This is the primary responsibility of sales department. The very general activities which need to be handled by sales department. Okay, hope you are clear on that. Any questions, please? Okay, this is the standard process, but if required, we will do the sales returns. Means our sales customer will do the returns, that sales department will track into system as a sales returns. Okay, fine. Once the shipment is confirmed, see, sales returns, if required, definitely it's the situation occurs, definitely we'll record it if customer is going to return, but we never expect we don't expect all the time we'll have a return from the customer. Okay, so finally just recording and booking and pick release and ship confirmation. Once ship confirmation is done, what sales department will do is, these activities are handled by sales department. Means this is the responsibility of sales department. Sales department is responsible for recording the sales orders and booking the sales orders and tracking the status of pick release and ship confirmation based on the activities which are done by inventory or shipping department or shipping execution or shipping team, whatever. And if there are any returns from customer, they'll record it. Okay, that's all. This is the responsibility of sales department. And sales department is not at all responsible to go and collect the payment from the customer. Okay, that's all. Now what sales department will do is, sales department will pass this information. Which information? Ship confirmation. That means for which customer, what quantity, what material or which items, how much quantity they delivered, all the information they'll be sharing with the receivables department. Okay, all the information they'll be sharing with the receivables department. That means sales department is going to share ship confirmed or ship confirmation details. Okay, you can write it as ship confirmed or ship confirmation. They'll track the ship confirmation. Okay, the sales department will share ship confirmation details with the receivables department. Based on ship confirmation details, the receivables department will record sales invoice. What information they'll include in the sales invoice? Who is the customer? To which customer our sales department sold? What is the customer address? What we sold? Okay, and how much? What is the amount customer has to pay? And when customer has to pay? Okay, and all the information will be including in the sales invoice. And the sales invoice you can just send to the customer, or else the sales department also can deliver that sales invoice along with the other shipping related documents which they share. But as per process, this is what we have to understand. As per system or organization point of view, sales department will be passing ship confirmation details with receivables department. Based on ship confirmation information, receivables department will create sales invoice. Within the sales invoice, we can have all the information related to sale, to whom we sold, what we sold, how much customer has to pay, when customer has to pay, everything, all the information, including the payment details, payment terms, the due dates and all the information you can see in the sales invoice. That. So we have a sales invoice. Now we'll have a just collection team and all, they'll be collecting the payment. Once we collect the payment, what sales department will receivables department will do is, that means against the sales invoice, against the sale, when they get the payment from the customer, they'll record the receipt, or you can call as cash receipt, whatever. They'll record the receipt. Nothing but whenever they get the payment from the customer and they receive the payment from customer payment. So once they get the payment from customer, that information they'll be recording in the receivables as a receipt. The receipt, the payment they received against which sales order, they'll be referring and they'll be maintaining the system. That's it. Now the receivables department is going to share the receipt information with cash management. Okay, fine. So fine. The receivables department is going to share receipt information. Within the receivables department, how many receipts they have, all the information they'll be sharing with cash department, so that if they get all the receipt information to cash department, the cash department can perform the bank statement reconciliation. Okay, so the cash department, what they'll do, they'll get the receipts information from receivables department. Once they get the receivables receipts information from cash department, receivables department, and the other side they'll anyway get the bank statement from the banker. Okay, one side they'll maintain the bank statement information. From the bank statement, they primarily consider the receipts information as per bank statement. Other side, from receivables department, whatever the receipts they received, that they'll maintain other side. Between these two records, two statements, one is system receipt statement, other one is bank statement. Between these two documents or statements, they'll do the cross check. That only we call as reconciliation. Okay. Receivables department will create the sales invoice against the ship confirmation, which is done by sales department. And whenever they get the payment from the customer, that they'll record as a receipt. The receipt information receivables department will share with cash department for the purpose of bank statement reconciliation. And finally, all the departments will be sharing the data with common department. All the departments, okay, the inventory and receivables, cash department, all the departments will be sharing the information with common department for the purpose of financial report generation. Financial reports. Okay, they'll prepare the financial report. This is the purpose why all the departments will share the information with common department. Okay, now we are clear on what department is performing which activities. Now already we discussed, okay, what generally inventory do has, normally the inventory is responsible to maintain the stock, and they'll look into the activities of when there is item inflow or outflow, they'll take care of it. If there is any demand in the organization, they'll raise the requisition, and all those and all we discuss as a part of P2P cycle. Now here again you no need to understand the same. A simple point is, for inventory, to manage inventory department related activities, we have an application from Oracle, already we discussed, that is Oracle Inventory. The short name is INV. What sales department is doing? Sales department is responsible to record the sales orders, booking the sales orders. They'll track the pick release, ship confirmations, and if required, they'll look after sales returns also. So to perform all these activities, to record all this set of data in the system, we have one product, or say we have one application, or say we have one module from Oracle called as Oracle Order Management. Oracle Order Management. In short, we call as OM. OM stands for Order Management. Oracle Order Management. That means by using Oracle Order Management, what we can do, we can record the sales orders. Whenever we get order from the customer order we can record in the order management, means in OM as sales order, and we can book the sales orders. That is nothing but an action we perform. Physically we'll have a communication like over the phone and all outside the system. The same will be tracking in the system as a confirmation, as a booking the sales order. Then will this in the order management itself, you can perform the ship confirmation and pick release and ship confirmation. These are the nothing but tracking the statuses against the order, and finally you can record if there are any sales returns from the customer. These and all we can manage by using the order management. The next, what order management is doing, the ship confirmation. The ship confirmation details they are sharing with receivables department. They are sharing with receivables department. What receivables department is doing, again based on that ship confirmation, they are creating the sales invoice and a receipt. That means to create the sales invoice and receipts, okay, basically receivables department is creating sales invoice and receipts. To create the sales invoice and receipts, okay, from Oracle we have an application called as Oracle Accounts Receivable, which we call as AR. That means by using AR, or say by using receivables, we can record the sales invoice and we can record the receipts. Okay, done. And here there are some other some other activities also which you perform. When you get into the receivables, we'll understand. Once we get the receipt, we'll be remitting to the bank. That activities also will do. But here in the as of our process flow, you don't need to understand, since these are two are very primary. Okay. So finally, the AR is sharing receipt information with cash department. In the cash department, what we do, we'll maintain the bank accounts. Already we discussed this point. We'll maintain the bank accounts and we'll perform the bank statement reconciliation, okay, by cross-checking receipt data from system and bank statement record. These two records will cross-check normally, which we call as bank book and cash book. Okay, that verification we do, that only we call as bank statement reconciliation. To maintain the bank accounts and the bank statement reconciliation, from Oracle we have one product called as, or say module called as Oracle Cash Management. Call it as CM. Okay, cash management, we call it as CM. Okay, by using the cash management application CM, we can maintain the bank accounts and we can perform the bank statement reconciliations. Finally, this point also already we discussed. For all these applications will be sharing the data with common department for the purpose of maintaining the common pool of data from the different applications. We have an application from Oracle called as Oracle General Ledger. Oracle General Ledger, what you call as GL. Okay, Oracle General Ledger we have. So from all the applications, we'll be moving the data to General Ledger. So once we get all the data from the different applications, here we can prepare the financial reports. Okay, so this is how this process works. Okay, so this process generally we call as O2C cycle. O2C cycle. Okay, this we call as O2C cycle. O2C stands for order to cash. See here, order inventory we are just taking for reference purpose. When we have order with this, when we get order to OM, just to check stock availability, we are cross-checking with inventory. Other than that, inventory is not going to perform some process-based activities. Okay, so this process, this complete process, what we discussed here, we call as O2C cycle. O2C stands for order to cash. That means order. It starts with order, it ends with the cash. That means where order is getting started, order process in order management. So this process will start when we get order from the customer. It will end once we get the payment from customer. That means in the O2C cycle, the primary applications which are involved is, okay, order management and account receivables. This is just for communication. Even from account receivables, we are passing the data to GL, and other side we are passing the data to receipts, CM, cash management. But these are not related to the actual core business related activities which we perform. Whatever already we done, those we are sharing here and here. That's it. So the primarily when you say O2C cycle, it starts with the order management, it ends with the account receivables. And if you have a question, what do you mean by O2C cycle? What is the process of O2C cycle? You have to start explaining all these other connectivities also, how the data will flow after receipt also. Okay, so when you say what is the O2C cycle, you have to explain. So if there is order from the customer, well, the sales department say OEM will receive the order, they'll book the sales order based on the, they'll check with inventory if stock is available, they'll book the sales order, and whenever inventory move the material from sub inventory to staging, that they'll be tracking as a pick release. This pick release tracking is done by order management OEM, and whenever we deliver the material to the customer, okay, that information, that activity will be tracked in the order management as a ship confirmation. If there are any returns from the customer, that can be tracked in the order management as a sales returns. Once ship confirmation is done, the OEM will share the information with AR, account receivables. Based on ship confirmation details, OEM will create the sales invoice. Okay, against the sales invoice, whenever we get the payment from customer, that can be recorded in the system as a receipt, and the receipt information AR will be sharing with cash management, or say CM, for bank statement reconciliation, and finally all the information will transfer to or will share with GL for financial reporting. This is what we call as O2C cycle. That means the cycle is starting with order. When customer place the order, it is starting when customer make the payment. We'll receive the order, process starts, we'll receive the payment, process ends. Okay, so this only we call as O2C cycle. These are the two cycles which you have to understand. If you have any questions on this, please. Any questions on O2C cycle?
The O2C cycle totally depends on customer related, right?
Yeah, customer, sales process.
Okay.
See, we know. Yeah.
Hello, Lakshman.
Yeah, tell me.
Hello, are you there?
Yeah, please, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I have one doubt. Is there any connection between O2C and P2P cycle connected somewhere?
Yeah, I'm going to show that also. I have other slide for that. Okay.
Okay.
Fine.
Oh, okay.
Any other questions? Okay. I don't see any questions. And other points, just I want to give some point here. As we discussed in the P2P, in the same way, all the data will share with the GL, and one way data will flow from here to here, and again other way from GL you can go on to connect. There will be connectivity with AR also with other system that we'll see in the detail level in the system process. But here you have to understand what is the meaning of O2C cycle, what are the modules are involved, what is the responsibility of each and every application, and how the process flows and the exact sequence. These are the points you have to understand. Okay, so primarily these two are basic process which you have to be very clear on when you are going to work on financials. In financial point of view, there won't be any other big cycle which other than purchasing and payment and sales and receipt. That means of course the complete procurement won't comes into finance, and sales also won't come into finance. If there is no procurement and sales, there is no finance, right? Generally, so that is the reason the connectivity, the process flow, we have to understand how the general communication takes place within the company across the departments. The same we are representing here through applications. Okay, that means this is the same way like how these applications are communicating in terms of further steps. In the same way, departments also will have this kind of communication. Now I'll show you the one slide where we can see both P2P and O2C cycles, where these are connected, how these together working in the entire process. And before that, I hope like everybody is clear on what is the short name for each and every module. For Oracle Inventory, INV. Oracle Purchasing PO, Oracle Cash Management CM, Oracle Accounts Payables AP, Oracle Fixed Assets FA, and Oracle GL, General Ledger GL. And when I talk about sales process, okay, the sales process here, complete end-to-end process, we are calling as O2C cycle. From now, please don't call as procurement process and sales process. Just to introduce, I mentioned those names. Here also I'm going to write P2P cycle. This is, and this is, don't call it a sales cycle, O2C cycle, because we are not talking about only just procurement, only sales. We are just taking the process end to end. Here we are discussing. That's the reason. Just call with the respective cycle. And as a part of O2C cycle, we have a inventory, INV, order management we are calling as OM, and these are the responsibilities of OM. And Oracle account receivables we are calling as AR, Oracle General Ledger GL, Oracle cash management CM. Okay, these are the short names we have. And now I'm going to refer this P2P and O2C cycle in one slide by referring with the short names only. Okay, I'm not going to write the complete naming convention, account receivables, accounts payables, cash management. I'll take you through only these short names. Now here you can see this P2P and O2C cycle, how it works. Okay, P2P and O2C. Now if I talk about inventory, if I talk about procurement process, what we'll do in the inventory level. Okay, if I talk about P2P cycle, how it works here, inventory. Inventory, what we'll do? Requisition, approval. Already I hope you've taken all the points. Now I'm going to write in very short. Okay, in inventory, in inventory level, we'll raise the requisition, we'll take the approvals. Before that, as we already discussed, we'll maintain the stock, or say items. Items are managed in the inventory, and requisitions can be raised and approvals. Then our inventory will pass that information to PO. PO is nothing but purchasing, Oracle purchasing, to that application, or you may refer as a department, purchasing departments. Based on approved requisition, what purchasing department PO will do, they'll create the RFQ and they'll get the quotations. Fine. Then they'll receive the quotations, they'll analyze. Okay, they'll analyze the quotations and they'll choose the quotations. Then they'll raise the purchase order, right? They'll record the GRN, and finally if required, purchase returns also, right? Depending on case, purchase returns also. Just I'm writing in very summary level, since already we discussed these all points. So this GRN information PO will be sharing with AP. Based on that, what AP is going to do, the AP will record the purchase invoice against the receipt, and once they arrive the due date, they'll make the payment. And AP, what finally AP is going to do, AP is going to share asset purchase invoice information with FA. If this purchase invoice is asset related, then they'll be sharing with FA. Right, here I'll write asset purchase invoice. Okay, AP will be sharing asset purchase invoice with information with FA. Based on that, what FA will do, FA will maintain the fixed assets, and based on the usage, they'll be calculating the depreciation. And again, AP, what AP will do, AP will record the payment, the same payment information they'll share with cash management. It's nothing but AP is going to share payment information with cash management. Okay, so this is how, and finally all the data will transfer to GL. For what purpose? To prepare the financial reports. So this is a P2P cycle, whatever we discuss. In the P2P cycle, inventory to PO, PO to AP, AP to FA if required, otherwise no, means if only asset related invoice only. Otherwise always AP payment information will flow to CM. It will be sharing, AP will be sharing with the CM. And finally all the data from all the applications, from all these applications will transfer, will share the data to GL for the purpose of financial reports. And when I talk about the O2C cycle, we'll record the sales order, right? SO means sales order, already we discussed. And next step is, sorry, SO. We'll record the sales order, then we'll cross check with inventory whether stock is available or not. Based on stock availability or supply possibilities, we'll book the sales order. Book sales order. Then whenever inventory do activity of pick release, the same will be tracked by OM. Pick release. Then finally, whenever we move the material from our organization to customer organization, the same information will be tracked by OM as ship confirmation. And if there is any need of any returns from the customers, that can be recorded in OM as a sales returns. And finally, what OM will do, OM is responsible to do all these activities, not more than this. Then OM will pass this ship confirmation details with receivables department. Already discussed. Based on that, what receivables department is going to do, they are going to create the sales invoice. And whenever they get the payment from the customer, okay, against the sales, they'll record the receipt. And this receipt information AR will be sharing with cash management. They'll be sharing receipt information with the cash management. Once CM will get payment information from AP and AR information, receipt information from AR, that means payments from AP, receipts from AR, CM is getting. Once CM will get the payment and receipt information from AP and AR, that cash management or cash department will get the bank statement from banker. So between these two records, AP payments, AR receipts and bank statements, these two set of records they'll use and they'll do the bank statement reconciliation. And finally, all this information, it can be payments or receipts related, reconciliation related information and AR related and all other information, okay, will be transferred to GL. Why we are transferring? To prepare the financial reports. Okay, this is what we have to understand. And here when you look into this, the common modules or common applications, the P2P and O2C are, which are connected, normally system point of view call as integrated. Okay, so inventory is involving in the two cycles and CM also involving in the two cycles, P2P and O2C, even GL also involving in the two cycles. Okay, that's how the P2P and O2C works together. Okay, this is a P2P and O2C cycles. So any questions on this, please? Fine, any questions?
Yeah, I have one question. So there is no interlink between PO and OM, right?
Sorry?
So there is no interlink between purchase order and order management.
In normal process, no. There are different business requirements. In that case, there will be connectivity between PO and OM also. But normal process, no. Standard process, no. There are some separate situations where there will be communication between PO and OM, but normal cases, no. Okay. Fine. Any other questions? Any questions on this? Fine. Now here let's try to understand a few points here. Okay, seems no question. Okay. Now these applications here, whatever I'm marking, these applications we call as financial applications primarily. GL, AP, AR, CM and FA, these 5 applications we call as core financial applications. Okay, just you can make a note, please. Okay, hope for attending these sessions they are taking the note for sure. So that's very important. If you are ignoring that simple task, definitely there won't be any learning. You can understand everything. You cannot do the practice. You cannot do the practice on the system. Once we give the system, if you are going to continue in this course, definitely we'll be giving the system. So you cannot do the practice. Everything will become big challenge. You'll be continuing with the current job. There won't be any chance of switching to this consulting ERP and all. Okay, no doubt on that. Whatever I'm telling, based on the people experience, I'm just passing this information. I'm not creating something to share. Okay, really, if you are serious about this course, just have a pen and paper with you. Each and every point which I am writing here, which I am showing in the slide, please make a note. Whatever we have in our class, that should be there in your note also. Otherwise, for sure, it won't work what you are expecting. Okay, anyway, that is secondary point. It's up to your interest, but just from my side, I'm just sharing that point. Okay, this area we call as SCM. There are some other modules also part of SCM, but as per the process which we discussed, this inventory PO OM comes under SCM, supply chain management. Okay, the above 3 comes under SCM, below 5 comes under financials. That means when you are going to learn financials, we have to learn basic SCM also. So that means that is the reason we'll be majorly focusing on our financial modules, and we'll go very in detail level. Major focus would be on the financials. Along with that, when we are working on AP, we know AP is integrated. PO is connected with AP. That means there is close relation in the system process or in the business also. That means there should be a good communication between the PO and AP in the company in terms of this business activities. The system also, data should flow between this PO to AP. And in the same way, when we are going to create sales invoice, that sales invoice creation will depend on OM. And when we are going to work on PO or OM, there should be information which need to be passed, which need to be shared across these 3 applications: inventory to PO and PO to OM to inventory to OM. This is how the communication should happen. Okay, this kind of streamlined communication between the systems can be possible in best way in ERP systems only. Now the simple point is, here I can create the requisition automatically. Based on the requisition, I can create the quotations, I can create the POs, I can create the receipts, I can create the invoices, I can make the payment, I can do the reconciliation automatically. Everything we can automate without entering the single record. Everything you can auto generate and you can do. That's how that kind of streamlined process will work in ERP systems across the applications without any user manual entry or user actions. Okay, the complete process can be automated. That is possible in the systems, and between all these applications or modules, data will flow. However, the real business required respective process. Okay, so this is only just this is the actual meaning of ERP. It's all about you can have multiple applications or multiple systems. Here we are talking about only application. The same way you can have a different systems also. Altogether different systems. Between the systems also we can have a connectivity with the help of ERP products. You may have some ABC product application. So if you have a system called as ERP will allow you to connect with that non-Oracle systems, third-party system, or call as legacy systems, whatever it may be. You can connect with those systems and you can make, okay, that system will communicate with our Oracle system. Okay, that kind of best possibilities we have where we can pass the data across the systems with ERP systems. But anyway, here we have to understand the meaning of P2P and O2C. This area we are calling as financials, and this area, these modules we are calling as SCM. We are going to focus on our financials. When you are learning financials, we should learn basic things from SCM also. In our course, I'll take you through inventory, how to create items, how to create some respective transaction, how to create the requisition, how to create the PO, how to create the receipt, how to perform the purchase returns, how to create invoice automatic in the payables based on these activities, how to create the sales order, how to book, how to pick release, how to do the ship confirmation, based on that how to create invoice and receivables. Okay, all these complete cycles I'm going to take you through. So this will be the complete learning for you. So this is what we plan to do it. Any questions on this or about this course, you can ask me, we can discuss now. So any questions?
Project management related to supply chain management or financial?
Project management is related to completely project product family. Okay. So we have financials, SCM, projects. So you can use the project. Say, take example. Now L&T is doing the projects, the metro project, right, in Hyderabad. So that sort of companies, they'll use the application called as project accounting. There'll be within the projects we have a different modules: project costing, project billing, to track. Okay, the organizations which has a project driven process, those organizations will use that project related applications, but general cases not required. Any other questions? Out of all product families which we have in Oracle applications, high demanding area is financials only. It's not like we are discussing today here. It's always fact. Any questions? Fine. I don't see any questions from anyone. Anyway, I'll be available on this call for 5 more minutes. Okay, meantime, if you get any question or if anything else you have to discuss, you can talk to me. Okay. Then that's all for today. We'll connect tomorrow same time. Okay. Today and yesterday we started a bit late, but from tomorrow we'll be starting sharp 7 o'clock. Okay, we'll start sharp 7 o'clock. Today and yesterday we just waited for the participants to be joined, but from tomorrow we'll be starting at sharp 7, because I hope like everybody is sure about the timings what we are following. So tomorrow we'll be starting at sharp 7 o'clock. Okay, any questions please? I'll be here for 5 more minutes.
The record was not clear first 20 minutes. So will it be clear tomorrow's record?
Yeah, that's what we addressed the network issue. Okay. So hope you will get recording with more clarity and all, no doubt. So that would be fine. Okay, I'll take care of it. Okay, I'll make sure that that network there won't be any network issues from my side. Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Chris, yesterday, the lectures for yesterday, did you send the link to students?
Yeah, already I shared that link to everyone who just contacted our team to continue these classes. I just shared the link.
I didn't receive that.
Fine, you just fine. Just we'll send you. Just we'll do that.
Okay.
Fine.
One more thing. This is Pankaj here.
Yeah, Pankaj.
Actually, the link which was shared, that is on YouTube. Is it something like that we will able to download on system locally?
Yeah, you can do that. Simple point here. So the initial classes, just I'm sharing through YouTube. Once the batch is formed, once the people are get finalized, then I'll be sharing all these videos through Google Drive. Because I'm not going to share all through YouTube links, but initial few classes, maybe 4 or 5 classes, I may share through Google Drive. It's a YouTube link. You can go through it, go through it, and maybe after 5 6 classes, right from beginning, from all the videos, I'll be sharing through Google Drive. You can download it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks, Pankaj.
Hello.
Yeah, please.
Could I just clarify one thing? Is there going to be a list, to, just to check, to validate that the right list is sent to everybody?
Sorry, I didn't get you.
Yeah, what I'm saying, would you be sending a list of what you are sending out to people so that they will be able to use that to cross-check that the whole stuff is complete?
No, just see, I share the course content also. So whatever the classes I taken yesterday and today, it's like to get into our course content. This is the basic information you require. That's what I'm taking through. Okay, once we just tomorrow also we'll talk theoretically about the system. Maybe from the 4th or 5th sessions we'll get into the system. That is the time where you can refer with the course content, what we are covering and each and everything. So I'll just outline and what is the sequence we are going to follow, what will be starting, how we'll be proceeding. So for that, we need some
Okay.
time to discuss those points. For now, just
Okay.
before you get into this course, what areas of knowledge you require, what basic points you have to understand, I'm trying to give you those. That's all.
Okay. So I guess what I was trying to say, you seem to have highlighted it in your the last part of your statement. Would you be sending out the link yourself? Would you be sending out the recorded stuff and the link yourself, or somebody will be doing that?
Yes,
If
yes,
somebody is
yes.
going to be,
I'll
if
be
somebody
sharing
is
the
going to
link.
be doing, okay, you'll be doing that yourself.
Yeah, we'll be sharing the link. That's what your requirement, right? You need links, you need videos, right?
So would you be doing the tool yourself, or somebody will be doing it from your admin side?
I can hear multiple voices here. I think somebody's speaking.
Sorry, what I'm saying, would you be doing that yourself, or somebody will be doing it for you, the two of them?
See, you'll be getting ultimately. It's I may do or somebody may do it. You'll be getting ultimately once you subscribe this course, you'll be getting those links.
Okay, I guess what I'm trying to talk about is that if you are not the person who will be doing that, we have to have a list so that we compare that list with all the information you sent to us, so that we use that to validate that we have gotten the right thing. But if you are going to be doing it yourself, then I have that guarantee that you will send everything through that we
Krish,
intended to send out.
Krish, see, there is no much clarity I can hear from your side. So no issues. You can give me a call. Okay, if you have
Okay,
something else to
okay,
discuss. Okay, fine.
okay, cheers.
Yeah. Any questions from others? Okay. Fine, seems to no questions from anyone. Then we can wind up the session for today. See you tomorrow. Have a good day and good night. Thank you all.
Cheers, bye.
Yeah. Good night.
Thank you.
Right. Thank you.